When you think of a dream vacation to Southeast Asia, what comes to mind? Probably wandering through ancient temples, tasting street food, or relaxing on a pristine beach. But lately, there is a brand new souvenir that travelers are bringing home, and it is not a silk scarf or a bag of coffee beans, it is a brand new set of teeth.
It sounds wild, but dental tourism is one of the fastest growing industries in Vietnam right now. People are literally flying across the globe, crossing oceans from the United States, Australia, and Europe just to sit in a dentist chair in Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City. What used to be a niche travel trend has turned into a massive movement.
It really makes you wonder about the state of healthcare when packing a suitcase, booking a 12-hour flight, and staying in a hotel halfway around the world is actually the cheaper, more sensible option for fixing your teeth. Why has going to the dentist in places like the US become such a financial nightmare?
It comes down to a structural crisis in Western healthcare. In the US, dental care is treated almost like a luxury rather than a basic human right. Standard health insurance rarely covers anything beyond a basic cleaning or a simple filling. If you need major work, like a crown, a bridge, or an implant, you are suddenly looking at astronomical out-of-pocket expenses.
And those out-of-pocket costs are not just slightly expensive, they are life-altering. We are talking about choices between fixing your smile or paying off a credit card.
Exactly. To put some numbers on it, a single dental implant in the US can easily cost anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000. If someone needs a full mouth restoration, like the popular all-on-4 or all-on-6 procedures, the bill can quickly climb to $30,000 or more. That is not just a medical bill, that is the price of a brand new car or a down payment on a house.
It is mind-boggling. Why is it so expensive over there? Is it just the cost of materials, or is there something else driving those prices into the stratosphere?
The materials are only a tiny fraction of the cost. The real drivers are the massive overhead expenses that Western clinics face. Think about the astronomical cost of malpractice insurance, high commercial rents in major cities, labor costs for specialized staff, and the administrative burden of dealing with complex insurance networks. All of these expenses get passed directly to the patient.
So, while patients are struggling to pay, Vietnam enters the picture as a savior. But for someone who has never traveled for medical care, the idea of getting surgery in a developing country might sound a bit intimidating. How does Vietnam manage to offer these services at a fraction of the cost without compromising on safety?
That is the most common misconception. People hear a low price and immediately assume lower quality, but that is simply not the case here. The cost savings in Vietnam come from a lower cost of living, lower operational overheads, and favorable exchange rates, not from cutting corners on medical standards. In fact, the top-tier clinics in Vietnam are using the exact same state-of-the-art technology you would find in New York, London, or Sydney.
What kind of technology are we talking about? Because when people think of dental work, they want to know they are getting the absolute best.
We are talking about 3D intraoral scanners, computer-aided design and manufacturing, known as CAD, CAM technology, and digital smile design software. The materials used for implants and crowns are imported directly from Switzerland, Germany, and the US, and they carry full international warranties. So, the hardware going into your mouth is identical to what a top US dentist would use.
That is reassuring, but technology is only as good as the hands operating it. Who are the dentists performing these procedures?
Many of the leading dentists in Vietnam have trained extensively overseas. They hold degrees or certifications from prestigious institutions in the US, France, Australia, and South Korea. They speak fluent English, participate in international dental conferences, and keep up with the latest global techniques. Because of the high volume of patients they see, their hands-on clinical experience is often much higher than that of their Western counterparts.
That makes sense. Practice makes perfect, and if you are performing these advanced procedures every single day, your skill level is going to be incredibly high. But there is also the time factor. In the US, getting a crown or an implant can take weeks, sometimes even months of waiting for lab work. How does the timeline work for a tourist?
That is one of Vietnam's secret weapons. Because these clinics cater specifically to international patients who have limited time, they have streamlined the entire process. Many top clinics have their own in-house dental laboratories. Instead of waiting weeks for a crown to be manufactured and shipped, it can be designed, milled, and fitted in a matter of days. You can literally walk in on Monday and have a fully restored smile by Friday.
It sounds incredibly efficient. But let us look at the math again, because it still sounds too good to be true. If a single implant in the US is $4,000, what are we looking at in Vietnam?
A high-quality implant in Vietnam usually costs between $800 and $1,200. Let us do some quick math on that. If you need 3 implants, that would cost you $12,000 in the US. In Vietnam, it would cost about $3,000. With the $9,000 you save, you can easily buy a business-class flight, stay in a 5-star hotel, eat at world-class restaurants, travel around the country, and still return home with thousands of dollars left in your bank account.
When you lay it out like that, it is not just a medical procedure anymore. It is a full vacation that pays for itself. The term dental vacation is actually very literal here.
It really is. And the psychological benefit of that is huge. Think about the traditional dental experience. You drive through traffic, sit in a cold, sterile waiting room, hear the sound of the drill, and then go home to recover on your couch. In Vietnam, you are recovering while cruising through the limestone pillars of Ha Long Bay, or sitting on a beach in Da Nang sipping fresh coconut water. It reframes the entire experience from something stressful and clinical to something relaxing and positive.
It is a fascinating shift in mindset. But looking at this from a broader perspective, it raises some interesting philosophical questions about the future of healthcare. We are essentially seeing the globalization of personal well-being. Do you think this trend will force Western healthcare systems to change? Or will they just continue to let patients leave?
It is a wake-up call. But change in Western systems is slow because of the deeply entrenched financial structures. What we are seeing is the democratization of healthcare through global competition. When local monopolies on medical services are challenged by international destinations that offer equal quality for a third of the price, patients win. It empowers individuals to take control of their own health decisions, rather than being held hostage by insurance companies or local pricing.
It really shifts the power dynamic back to the patient. But of course, traveling for medical care still requires careful planning. What should someone look out for if they are considering making this trip?
Research is absolutely critical. You want to look for clinics that have international accreditations, transparent pricing, and clear communication channels. It is important to have a virtual consultation before you fly out, where you can share your dental X-rays and get a preliminary treatment plan. You also want to make sure the clinic offers long-term follow-up care and guarantees on their work.
That makes a lot of sense. You cannot just wing it when it comes to your health. But the stories coming out of this trend are truly heartwarming. People who felt self-conscious about their teeth for decades, who could never afford the treatments at home, are finally getting their confidence back.
Absolutely. It is about dignity. When you cannot afford to fix your teeth, it affects how you speak, how you eat, and how you present yourself to the world. Vietnam is offering a pathway for people to regain that confidence without going into debt. It is a beautiful exchange. The country gets to showcase its medical expertise and hospitality, and the travelers get to go home with a life-changing transformation.
It is a win-win scenario that highlights just how connected our world has become. The idea that a smile can bridge 2 different sides of the planet is pretty profound. As we wrap up today, it leaves us with a lot to think about regarding how we view healthcare, travel, and the value of global expertise. To everyone listening, would you consider crossing the ocean for a new smile? Or does the idea of medical travel still feel a step too far? It is definitely worth pondering. Thank you for sharing these insights today, and to our listeners, we will see you in the next episode. Keep smiling!